After you take your clay pieces out of the oven and let them cool down, you'll remove them from the slide with the flat blade tool that you have. Now when you do that, you'll notice that around the edge of the clay like this, there's kind of rough edges that you don't really want. They always look like this, but then you might also have kind of chunks that look like this where you cut the piece a little bit too close to another one. So there's two main ways to remove these. One of them is using the tool like this, and you have to kind of very gently go around the edge, kind of shaving it like that. And that's really precise, but it also takes ages, and it's really, really easy to slip and take a chunk out of your piece. So it's much quicker if you have a Dremel tool or a hand tool or something like that. Mine looks like this. And at the minute it's got the drill bit on, but we're going to change it for the sanding bit. Now, when you get your tool, it'll probably have loads of choices like this. And I used to use this one because it's called the sanding tool. But because this clay is really light, it just, if you're not careful, it just takes huge chunks out. So I don't really recommend using this one. Instead, try and go for something like this. These are called buffing wheels, I think, online, and you can buy them pretty cheap because over time they start to go really, really fluffy around the edge and they won't sand as well. But this is kind of fluffy and it'll still be fine. So I'm just going to change the tool and then I'll show you how to use it on the piece. Usually on these tools, there's a thing that you press and hold in order to be able to change the ends, and there's the switch to turn it on. If I'm going to change the end, I really get scared that I'm going to turn it on by accident whilst I'm halfway through taking the drill off. So I always unplug it before I do that, because obviously if your fingers are on this and you accidentally switch it on, that's not going to go very well for you. So please remember to unplug it before you start changing around with the ends. I'll do that now and then just show you, just in case you didn't know how to do it. So now I know it can't switch on. On my tool, if you hold this down and then twist the top, the thing at the top gets wider and wider, and that allows you to change. So this is the buffing wheel from before. It allows you to change for a wider piece like that, and then tighten it up again. So that's how I would then put the buffing wheel on. Okay, so before you start the actual sanding, you're going to want a couple of pieces of safety equipment. One is some glasses. That's because bits of the sand or bits of the clay, when you sand it, come off. You can't really see it at first, but you'll notice it on your face and clothes afterwards. So you really want some glasses so that you can keep your eyes safe, but also a mask because you'll inhale it if you're not careful. So I'm just going to put these on. Okay, and so when you're sanding, you need to have the back of the piece up. So you can see this is the back. It's really shiny because that's what happens when you bake it on the clay. I'll show you how to get rid of that later because it looks nicer without. And what you're going to do is put your tool to quite low if it has an option, maybe like 3 or something like that if it's out of 5. And then when you switch it on, you're going to very gently brush it over the edges, making sure you keep hold tight of the clay, because sometimes the wheel can like, woo, send it spinning off and you don't want that. So when you switch it on, just really gently kind of brushing it on the back side along the edges, and you should notice that those rough edges come off. So I'm going to put mine on and show you now. Okay, And so you can see now this side compared to this side, how clean and nice it looks. This bit here, you're probably going to need to sand a little bit more. Maybe it'll just come off if you pull it. But then once it's all done, that is your piece sanded. It is quite a quick process, but just make sure you wear the mask and the gloves, because otherwise you're going to hurt your eyes and your lungs. This is why you need to wear the protection. So you can't really see too much dust on the mask, but believe me, it's definitely there. But this is what my glasses look like after finishing sanding quite a big batch of earrings, but still, you can see how much of that would have gone in my eyes otherwise. And also, like, look at my hand. It's just absolutely thick with clay dust. So you'll notice that I've got gloves on now to try and remove this shiny bit off the back, and that's because I'm wearing nail varnish and we're going to use acetone, and acetone is the destroyer of nail varnish. It's what nail polish remover is usually made of. So if you get any on your nails, it's just going to eat through any even gel polish or whatever. But also it's bad for your skin, so you should wear gloves anyway. I've actually got 2 pairs of gloves on at the moment because sometimes it wrecks my nails even through 1 pair. So what you're going to need for this is some acetone. I have 100% pure acetone. It should be quite cheap. And some plain old cotton pads. So what you want to do is open up the acetone. Oh, also be really careful not to get this on furniture or carpets or anything. I got some on our wooden table and it just ate through the varnish instantly, which wasn't great. So you get some acetone on the pad, and then you just want to kind of gently take the back of the earring and just kind of smooth it over. Just rub it. You have to be a bit firm with this. And if it goes on the front of the earring, it doesn't matter because you haven't got resin on it yet, so it won't go through. If you do this too much, you will see, like, you can see a bit of yellow on the pad here because it does take off the top layer of the clay. So if you do this for ages, you're just going to end up with a really thin piece of clay. But you just want that shiny look gone. So now this is the front of my Christmas tree, and now on the back it's nice and matte, and when that dries it's going to look really smooth. And there you go, that is sanding and acetoning the backs.